Let's see, is that in the way? That right there. Man, I don't have this set up right. Damn. Tables off center. Let's see. Okay. Shut this off. I want to make sure my sound's working. Oh, did I? Oh, I don't think I turned off the comment. I was going to do no comments, actually. Well, it's okay. Let me see. Give me a second. Nobody's here yet. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, look at the top of the desk. Okay. So there's just a couple of you guys here. What else? I was going to do this outside. I really wanted to. Oh, look at the top of the desk. I didn't even realize this. I'm looking at the top of the desk and on the TV. Wow. Yeah, I was going to do this live outside, and red wasps. Too many red wasps. Shit. Anyway, how you guys doing? Give me 1 second. I know I was already late for starting this, right? Already relapsed. Already relapsed. Excuse me on the tobacco. I've been going hard on this. Man, it's crazy, but it does help with the weight. So, by the way, there's a video at 1 o'clock, and it's just anyway, we're not talking about that right now. How you guys doing? Today's the beginning for me. Today's the beginning for me. You know, I've been talking about change and you know, I've been doing good in my life, better, sober, but still, you know, a lot of areas that can be improved for sure. Again, I struggle with addiction all the way across the board. Food is a problem for me too. I've probably put on, I think it's 8 pounds in the last month. I think it was. I think that's what it is. Let me see. Can I hear? Okay. All right. So today starts this channel. I mean, today I start on this channel, Addiction Recovery, which is going to be across the board as far, you know, but I'm going to be doing this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. That's my schedule for now. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm going to do it, but I'm saying as far as the timing, I think 12's good for me right now. And I'll be discussing, like I said, this is going to go on. Addiction and recovery is where my heart's at. I just want to be able to trust myself before I did it. Started really getting into it. And I also realized that I kept putting stuff off, and that includes eating, the food I eat, daily exercise, the bedtime issue, you know, I got to get that set, but just a schedule in general. For example, waking up in the morning, the first thing before I even leave the room, I make my bed right before. That's like a priority. And immediately go, you know, I'm setting up a routine or a schedule, you know, for myself. And that's where I started. Today is the day. Today it happens. No more making up excuses. And like I said, that's all the way across the board. I did a live the other day. Somebody asked me about friends down here and what I do and stuff like that. I do know people down here. As far as hanging out, I don't really. I mean, there's like a place I go, a friend's house I go, but I'm stopping that, even not because of anything like on him. It's more about me, relationship issues, some things I got to work on. But like I said, it all really, today, April the 21st is really the day. That's the day for me. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and since this is my first video, or first live, I should say, talking about this in earnest. I mean, what I'm really aiming for as far as the channel. I'll go ahead and do this, and I do think my life. Oh no, so it is on. I'm sorry. Brian's fired. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So I want to be clear about when I do lives on addiction and recovery. I answer questions. You guys know that if you guys have watched me. I'm not going to be answering any questions except that have something to do with addiction, drugs, recovery, stuff like that, which most of my chats end up talking about drugs, whatever, people talk about different stuff. But that's where I'm at. So as far as things putting into my body, drugs, stuff like that, I've toyed with the idea of marijuana. I absolutely have. The problem is I'm a glutton, and then that's what it just becomes. I would like to be able to smoke weed before I go to bed at night. I would, because it helps me sleep, right? Or an edible or something like that. I've decided that's not even going to be for me either. The Suboxone thing, my mind kind of went back there thinking about that again. But I got off those shots. It took me a couple weeks to get over that. That's just not for me either. I know people that it's for. I know people that swear by it. I'm talking about buprenorphine or Suboxone or methadone. I know people, and I'm all for it if that's what you feel. If you're not going out and committing crimes and doing illegal street drugs, then that's for you. I'm just saying what's for me. And this is where I'm at. And by the way, if anything like that changes, if I do, you guys will be the first to know. I am very transparent. I know some people don't believe that sometimes, and the haters, blah, blah, blah. I am. I really am. So I'll put that all out there as my journey begins. And I will be honest in saying that counseling, creating a program, maybe even working as a counselor at the place that I was in rehab with, if I can get in, is in my future. I will be aiming for that. There's no more maybe, no more that's my calling in life. Now I don't know if the counseling thing is going to come from, like I said, going to work up at the Harbor House or someplace like that in Fort Smith. I'm not saying I can get a job right now, so I'm not saying that. I'm saying I could put an application in, and I think that if a spot became available, I'd be able to. The only reason I'm not ready for something like that right now, like to actually do, is because of my transportation issues. The only reason I'm not going to AA and NA right now, and I might start going weekly, by the way, it's because of transportation and because of gas, because of my financial situation. I have no problems admitting that I am busted broke. It's getting better. And just even YouTube, you know, I can carve a living out on YouTube right now alone as it is. Falling a little bit short, but I'm there. So my point of this is, I believe in the camaraderie in the NAAA fellowship. I'm gonna have my sponsor as soon as I can start going. And I'm not trying to say I'm going to. I'm just not trying to contradict myself. Again, this all stems from transportation. I am in the sticks. I am, 30, 40 minutes away. Actually, from the meetings, it's like 45. And I'm not able to right now, but I'm going to. Like I said, I think I'm going to start with the one meeting a week. And by the way, when it comes to NA, I do have some issues with it. I believe I'm in the camp that's starting to believe that people shouldn't label themselves or call themselves addicts and alcoholics all the time. But having said that, I'm still I like the groups up in Fort Smith. Fort Smith has really good recovery programs, really, really good. I mean, the community up there is awesome. So I do like it. Like I said, it's a good fellowship to be around. We're going to see how that goes. Like I said, I want to work the steps for me. Just because I've never worked all 12, and that's a goal of mine. So that's absolutely coming. But in the meantime, um, here, this is my support. This is my counseling, and I'm not going to be preaching. You know, I'm too new on that. And look, when I talk about addiction, like I said, I'm not talking about just drugs, man. I'm talking about across the board, okay? And right now, so it's not a porn thing at this point in time in my life. It's not. It's food. I got this tobacco thing going on as of late. It was just like a can every couple of weeks, and when I run out, I don't care. But it's getting to a point where after a cup of coffee, I want a chew, you know, pouches. So there's that. Hey Rob, if you're broke, try doing burglaries. Alcohol always has been my addiction. Strike, yeah. So I am. So it's Brian, Strike, and Mike Hunt. I am. I'm an alcoholic first, and you know I realize when it comes to the whole meth thing, I always have. I always have had to have a balance. I can't. It's not about. It's not about any drug. I'm telling you, it's alcohol first when it comes to drugs, and I'm an equal opportunist. You know what I'm saying? I am. Um, I've also been in this position, man. It's been all my life. It's been a long time where I can give really, really great advice. You know, I'm fully aware, and I'm not trying to be big headed about it or whatever. I do. I talk to people. I like people, first of all. Okay, I do. I'm a people person, even though I'm isolating right now, but that's self-imposed isolation. I'm a people person. I like talking to people, and I genuinely care when people have issues, and I really am interested in listening to them. I like the backstories. I like finding out where a person's from their childhood, and like a psychologist, and figuring it out. And it's been really awesome in the past, even since I've been out of prison in 21 and had this channel. The people that have reached out to me, for some reason, again, there's a lot of people that had suicidal issues, and being able to really talk with them is something that it fulfills me. It does something with me. What sucked is there were times when people were reaching out to me on YouTube that had bad addiction issues, and I was lying, you know, and downplaying. And well, I mean, looking back at the time when I'm in it, again, I'm really good. I'm really good at preaching. It's the practicing what I preach part, and I know this, man, you know. And I don't want to be one of these people. And this is what's prolonged me from starting this. What's up, Henry? Yeah, I just saw you. Jonathan, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm reading without my glasses, and I'm on YouTube, which that's why the color looks a little different. And I look fatter, like a brada. I look fat, but yes. Yeah, so anyway, damn, what was I saying? Oh, what I didn't want to be, and this is what my reservation's been about. This is why, if you guys have followed me since I've been out, and I've been saying I'm getting there and getting there. It's about the whole lifestyle choice and change. It's about having an actual time schedule like a job. It's about waking up. It's everything. The food, everything. And I kept putting it off. Saying I don't trust myself. And there's been some moments here. Yard work is a trigger for me. It is a trigger for me, man. You know, because I know if I drink a couple beers, and do 3 hits off a pipe, I don't feel any pain. There's no shoulder, there's no knee pain. And when it comes to yard work, I bounce and I get a lot done, and I miss that. And there's been a couple times here, not to where I wouldn't sort it out, but there's been a couple times. Well, one time I stopped. I actually stopped and sat on the back porch for a minute and thought about it, and gave it probably 10 minutes worth of thought. You know, I did. I had seen somebody earlier that day, and I knew where they were, and I always know what they're doing. You know, And boy, oh boy, I'm telling you, it was right there. But I actually use steps that I learned in rehab, that it'll pass. There's things that I've learned in rehab that I've come back on that I don't even realize at the time. Oh man, that screen. I got a screen that's down, and I always talk about these bugs in my house. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, it is what it is right now. Anyway, but this is what I was trying to get at, I guess. Did you see the video, or did you see before what's the guy from from Friends, Matthew Perry? Did you see any of his videos before he died and him talking? I forgot, I think it was an ABC interview, but you knew that dude was using, I don't know if he was talking about the fact that he's ketamine, but you can tell. And I don't and have not wanted to be that guy. And I've stopped and not started doing this. I said I didn't trust myself, but I think inside there was that little bit of leaving the door open, and then I realized here a few days ago, this is the way. Start now, be transparent. I'm a human. I've put myself, but above myself, others, in so much turmoil because of my addiction issues, that I didn't want to let myself down, let others down, or whatever. But this is the way to do it. You just do it. By the way, I was watching some psychology show. I forgot. I subbed to a bunch of different ones. Got rid of the mob genre stuff. I watched a little bit of it because of last week and being stupid. But I forgot who it was. It was one of these famous guys who said, you don't plan for sobriety, you just do it. You know what I mean? That sounds so simple. I've always been the person that needed the last hurrah. Look at what just happened to me in my violation. You guys don't know what happened to me in my violation. This last one, I just went away for a year. For sure, I was in it, But the day I went in for a urine test, the day I went in, there's things that I take that will pop a false positive, and there's also been positive, and then I put things in my body that erase that. But on that particular day, I was not dirty. It pops dirty. Of course, my PO doesn't believe me. And I had already admitted to the PO and to YouTube that I was beating my urine test I didn't do that great of a job, but I was using a catheter to catheterize myself, sticking stuff up into my bladder. I'd already admitted that to them. So they were already looking for stuff like that. So they were running stuff to the lab just to see what I was doing to beat them, because I never told them exactly what I was using or not. So I'm sure my PO that day for sure thought I was using, for sure thought I was high. And I just told him, run it to the lab. I always told him, run it to the lab. I'm one of those people that can't confess, So especially when it comes to addiction. So with probation department, okay. So I was begging to be put on a sweat patch, a drug patch, because in my mind it was the end all be all. It's what would have stopped me. I believed that. I have had other people that say, no, you would have found a way around it. Maybe I would have. But in my mind, I asked the PO, I asked the judge, I begged to be put on a sweat patch, okay? Well, because I had cancer treatments coming up, they decided to put me on a sweat patch. When I had a urine test that day and it was hot in the bottle, they're sending it to the lab. I knew it would be clean in the lab. I said, they talked about the sweat patch. I said, okay, I'll shave. I'm hairy, okay? Full disclosure, except for my head, I got hair everywhere. I told him I'd shave my arm or shave whatever. And he goes, no, just turn around, lift up your shirt. Let me see your side. And I didn't know you could put on the side. Well, I didn't have hair on the side right here or whatever. So he tells me to turn around, and then he reaches behind him and he grabs the sweat patch. And it was like my world came crumbling down because I was going to use. Was it that day at the time, or for sure upcoming? I don't remember if it. No, it wasn't that day, but I knew on the weekend for sure, right? He saw my face. My PO saw my face, and he goes, he said, look at your face right now, because I was like stuck. And he goes, is there something you want to tell me? Meaning about that bottle. I figured that if I confessed to being dirty, that when they put the sweat patch on me, then when I use a few days from now, that would suffice. It doesn't work that way. They can tell the levels. There's all kinds with those sweat patches. I didn't do a deep dive into the sweat patches because, like I said, I think that's what was going to be my savior. That was going to save me. But I did a dive afterwards, and there's, well, no. They can. I mean, you can take it off and and stuff like that, but they have tricks for all that stuff. But so when he put it on me, I said, okay, I'm dirty on that bottle, thinking that I can go out and use and I can get my last hurrah. It was about that, going back in and doing that last hurrah. One of the things I did was when I would be on a run and I wanted to stop prison, this worked well. I do what I call feed the beast. So what happened was in 2023, I went back and I used intravenously. Did I do it in 22 too? No, I think it was in 23. And the reason I did it was I never did speed before. I never did speed meth intravenous. That's not true. I did some in prison that came off a card, broke it down, came off a greetings card, melted it, put it in water. So I did. But on the street, I never did a real shot, so to speak. And not a fan of it, to be honest, but it was like, get more, feed the beast, kill it. It's worked before with H in prison, and got my status, I was satisfied, got my fix, and then I was able to do X amount of time sobriety. When I went sober in 2007, I winged myself off perks, all the way down to, just as one pill in the morning, one pill in the evening, and then one in the afternoon. But I remember that last one pill, one Percocet 5, starving myself, drinking a bunch of coffee just so I'd feel the effects of that. So getting back to the point, so I don't want to be the guy. I haven't wanted to be the guy who comes on and preaches sobriety and still using in the closet. You know what I mean? That's not about me putting it up. That's something personal. I did that before. I've told the story. I was at Butner in 2007. I'm strung out on pain pills, on perks, morphine, and fentanyl. Right? I was doing so many. So I take a whole bunch. They have me on a call out, which means I have to go somewhere to be at an appointment. And it was for drug education. I was going to go sign out of it. I walked down there, and it's a massive, it's this big room, and there's a bunch of people from the outside, and the room's completely filled. It was like an NAA meeting from outside. And comes to me, now I'm in Butner Hospital. I've got cancer, bladder cancer, and I've got a life sentence for drugs. In the room were a bunch of people that were from the cadre unit. The cadre is a unit in the hospital. It's the inmate workers or helpers, and most of them have 3 years or under. Excuse me, it's a bad habit. So most of them are 3 years or under. So they're not around a bunch of people that had a real sentence or doing real time. Well, it came to me, and I can run at the mouth. I can get going. I can get off subjects. So what happens is, hi, my name's Robert. I'm an addict, whatever. And I just start talking. And I'm, if people know that feeling when you first get the whoosh with the opiate medication, here comes that rush, boom. And it's just, everything's feeling great, but I'm in the middle of talking in a sobriety meeting, and here we go. And I start telling the story of my life. I start telling that I have life without parole for drugs. I start talking about the cancer. I start telling guys that they can be me. Don't be me. Don't be a me. And really, I mean, pouring it out. I mean, I was getting it out. The only problem was I was high, pretending that I wasn't. And I remember there pretty much wasn't a dry eye in the room. There wasn't. And I remember looking and connecting with people. I had everybody's attention during it, and it felt so awesome. It was such a great feeling. And then I had to leave and be with myself. And boy, oh boy, what a hypocrite, sorry, SOB I felt like, man. And I don't want to do that again, So I keep thinking about that. So yeah, that's where I'm at. This is where I'm at now today. It is a new beginning for me. I don't care about any haters' comments that might say otherwise. I am a person that always, if people tell me that I'm going to do something wrong, like use or whatever the case is, instead of trying to prove them wrong or whatever, I always just succumb to that. I always become what people say, even if I'm not already. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's no more. I'm taking charge of that, man. I'm taking charge of that. I'm not going to cry about everything I did in the past. I'm sure I'll be talking about stuff. I'm sure I'll get emotional at times when I'm talking about certain stuff. That's just it. But I've got a lot of amends to do with family, I guess friends. But I'm here to do it. I'm here to start. And it starts by waking up in the morning and making up the bed and having a really strict regimen and schedule. And like I said, with the central focus of, I do want to start some kind of, there's a lot of programs out there, and there's a lot of great programs, right? There's a lot of bunk ones. Somebody suggested that I create a program, right? And that is something that I was going to work on with a certain individual. That's not going to work out now, but that's going to that might be in the future. So when I talk about the end goal, where I'm aiming, as far as counseling, as far as whatever, it could be that. We'll see. I want people that if you're a sub or follow me or whatever, if you're in it, if you're in recovery, if you have things to say, I am going to be depending on you guys as well to have conversations about a lot of this stuff. On my Wednesdays, I'll be focused on a certain issue when I come back Wednesday. I've got a lot of stuff. Like I said, I kept a lot of notes in rehab. Yeah, we'll see. We'll go from there. Let me go ahead and answer. Let me just see what you guys are talking about, because I really don't know. We'll just see if there's anything that pops, and then I'll go on a little bit more. This is just kind of laying it out today, okay? Hey, how you doing, Jonathan? Good. I want to do something for you, Jonathan. You're going to be sarcastic, or you know what? See, look at like that. So I'm so used to, because of my tiptoeing back. So I do mob content. You guys know that. Did one the other day, and then I get in that, I didn't go down, I'm not going down the rabbit hole, but I get on a topic, any topic, and then I start going, right? And then I respond to negative comments, and I get fed by those instead of positive ones, because I have fun. I do. But before, I was doing it as a way to hide really what was going on. Now it's just like, It's just that's something I got to work on as well. It's something I got to work on as well, for sure. But anyway, yeah. So let's go see it. So Jonathan, you want to do something? Okay. If you want to reach out, RJRO. Oh, I got to change my email on my homepage. Keep the DOJ out of healthcare. Okay. Kratom. Okay. Okay, Spirit of Northern. What's up, by the way? Kratom is a great pain reliever. I've done Kratom, and I can get all screwed up on that as well. Anything, really. It's true. So Kratom's not for me, but I know dudes that do it. Jonathan, you're in Indiana. Were you the guy that, oh no, maybe not, has a prison channel? I'd love to hang out with you. Okay, Jonathan. Well, listen, get a pencil and paper. Jonathan Carpenter, don't think he is, okay. Tinfoil and turmoil. Nice. So he's talking about the use of methamphetamine on tinfoil, which I did do here 22 and 23, back when I was sneaking it from my wife sometimes while outside. Yeah, and that does not cause like Alzheimer's. Prohibition laws. Okay, Spirit Annoyance of the drug prohibition laws. Former STP Sheriff Jack Strand is a good example of this. Okay. Mario, I would beat my test when it was on diversion. I would take some kind of fluid pills. The potassium's supposed to take it away. It's zinc, bro. It's zinc. Zinc is the magic for that. I'm not trying to encourage people to beat urinalysis. I'm not. The magic potion is zinc. I spent $3,000 on drug tests and concoctions. One of the things that I did was I created with Gatorade, with bleach, with a bunch of stuff. Okay, I created with a bunch of stuff something that popped hot for meth. Something that popped hot for meth actually even in the lab, it popped in that because I went and had a conversation with somebody from National Toxicology Laboratory. It's the same people that the BOP used to use. I got a phone number and I actually called and talked to somebody and was saying, hey, listen, I did this and this is what happened. This is what happened. He's like, what? What are you talking about? And I said, I did this and it's making it pop for meth. What is, or amphetamine, whatever it was, what's going down? What's happening? And he was shocked. I tried to make it part of my revocation hearing, that really I wasn't dirty for meth, I was dirty for opiates. Yeah, whatever. It's like that was going to fly. But I wanted to actually get a chemist. I wanted to go through it. The point was to prove that those bottles really weren't dirty and all this other stuff. But I was using, and I was drinking steadily, saying that I wasn't drinking like I was, saying I was drinking 2 beers a night. Occasionally I did do that, but having 6 hidden, you know. So I did all that stuff. But yeah, I beat all of my drug tests by not using it. Great. Bo, Rob Rosso, do you think I'm not being rude during addiction recovery. I'm not going to do anything with the mob. Maybe I'll go live tonight for the hell of it, but I'm going to go live tomorrow night for sure. Wouldn't take potassium pills, but would dehydrate me. I can smoke weed during the week and pass on Fridays. Okay. Spirit of New Orleans, are you on the West or East Bank? I'm in Wego, East Bank. Did you know Ernie Benito? I can't say that. I never owned a champ. Asking your opinion. Okay, Bo. Bo. Yeah, you're talking about, again, not being rude. I said that in the short, but just not, because you know why? It's not about that, because I can get going and then I can take off in a different direction. And I want to stay this to addiction recovery or drug talk. Okay. That's all I'm trying to do here. Okay, bud. I can smell the pills in the back of my throat. Not originally from Grenada. Sorry. Okay. Smells good. Rabbit with white beans and rice. I'm stuck on this. Okay. True. I'm stuck on subs and it's miserable. I should stick to pills. Easier to get. Mario, subs becomes that, man. Subs become. I know somebody here right now, a friend, a guy I know, mechanic. Got a lot of different problems. A lot of people got problems, but is stuck on that subs, and boy, like 8 years. You know, begged me to go revisit and see if I had any strips stashed away. You know, because I used to hide them. I don't. Jonathan, okay, you're going through stuff. Okay, Jonathan, so listen, bro, seriously. Oh, shoot. RJ Rosso, RJ, ROSSO, 1969 at gmail.com. And by the way, somebody emailed Rob, I don't know if you're going to hear this. I sent it back, but it didn't send, and I don't know what the deal is. The other night, something happened with my email, and I went back in, and then I did something. So my email was connected to somebody else. Something was shut down, and then I did some stuff and I screwed it up. So I got to figure it out. Oh shoot! I just skipped. Okay, you guys are way up. I'm sorry. Jonathan Carp, thanks for the channel. Okay, wait, you guys. My old boss okay. I was wondering if I had another, okay, I would like to drive all the way to the West Bank on the corner. My hardest issue is a mental cause. Can't stop thinking about it. Mario. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, you're talking about the mental part. Are you talking about drugs? Okay, is that what you're saying? Henry, names Vincent's father used to, okay, Vince. Him and I, okay. She left his body. Okay, I'm just trying. I got some good meth. Let's go, joking. It's okay, James Miller. It's okay. What's up, James? No, I don't care. If not bad luck, you'd have no luck popping for meth. Yeah, dude, it was miserable. Email, Gmail. Yeah, RJ Rosso, 1969 at gmail.com. Oh, you rode with the DWB and the Fed, so you got out of El Reno into. Okay, Sean. So you knew some of the. Wow, there was a big car there. Okay, I don't want to get stuck on that right now, though. Okay. Well, you can turn dirty white boy talk into drug talk for sure. Subs are the hardest to kick. I swear, I've been 3 years. James Miller, thank you, man. Thank you again, and I've said this a lot. 20 is like $200 to me right now. Okay. But I'm not crying, and I'm not, I don't sit in here and beg. I'm supposed to ask more, I'm told by everybody, for donations. But hey, it is what it is. Thank you. And I like it. I push like. Okay, wait. Subs are Robert Rosso don't need a big fancy car. Robert Rosso don't need to be a Hollywood superstar because I'm a. You're funny. You're funny, dude. His name is Wabbit Wasso. He does call me that. Still got your patch? Okay, bro. I got mine on my side. Right on. But you're out of that right now. So here's the deal. Oh, man, I don't want to get into that right now. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't want to do that, right? Have a great day, PJ. Thank you, bro. Jonathan 912, Jonathan Carper 264. Robert Rosso needs to beg like FBS. That's what I was kind of referring to. Yeah, I'm not. Maybe I should set up another GoFundMe, right? So somebody brought to my attention that there's more people, I guess, in one genre doing GoFundMes right now. So that I started it or whatever. I did it because I needed to make the house payment, man. At the time when I was in the joint, and then family and Primo helped for sure. Have a great day. Thanks, PJ Florida. Appreciate it. Robert Ross needs to beg like. That's what they are saying for who to do. I'm not really sure, but whatever, it's cool. All right, but again, thanks, James. It's big right now, bro. Especially since I've been getting a hit on my videos. Some of them getting a little bit better, but they automatically have me like restricted, and I got to go big for videos to be monetized right now. So what else? So this is, like I said, this is day one, just kind of getting back into it. I think I should probably, especially for people, new people and stuff like that, probably run through my whole history, you know, again, so I can look back on the videos or whatever. There's some really, really good addiction channels. Put the Shovel Down, Amber Hollingsworth, whatever, one of my favorites. What was she saying the other day that was revolutionary? Anyway, so one of the things too is, so you guys have heard me, and this goes back to mob genre stuff. You guys have heard me take off and say I don't care about being called a junkie and stuff. And I've labeled myself as that before. Okay, I've done that. Maybe psychologically, or just to get my brain, I should start saying recovering addict and stuff like that. I think at some point people shouldn't even call themselves addicts and alcoholics anymore, which goes against NA and AA. But this is something I'm thinking about. Also, there is when it comes to the whole addiction stuff, there's so much more because of brain chemicals and stuff like that. I mean, you know, the way stuff acts in the brain. I'm talking about dopamine. I'm talking about serotonin levels and stuff like that, which goes. Oh, somebody just hit me. I got to answer this. YouTube tax now. Get 20. Oh, thanks, bro. Man, you just hit me off twice. Thanks, James. Is there anything I can answer for you or whatever, bro? No sexual favors. The Department of Justice needs to stay out of healthcare. The Department of Justice, okay, this is on the same line. The Department of Justice needs to stay out of healthcare. So that goes to you're talking about information. Then they're going to throw Granny off the cliff because you've got to eventually. I know what you're saying. You're getting into that whole argument. So, boy, I'm sounding like a lib more and more every day. I will say this from being married once upon a time to a Spaniard who loved her healthcare system. Well, the system we've got right now going in is a mess. So I'm going to give you an example from me. I come out of prison. I'm on what's called Ambetter. Okay. So through the healthcare marketplace, I've got recurring bladder cancer, little medical stuff's important to me. I come out I'm in prison all last year, right? And I've got this bill from Ambetter from last year, never even used it. They upped something, I don't know how, because I didn't put the income down, whatever. And all of a sudden, I owe them like $83, which is like $8,000 to me at the time. Then it was like $8,000. Now it's like $800. Okay, so things are getting better. Couldn't get Ambetter unless I paid that money, and didn't want to ask anybody for the money and didn't pay it. Called up the marketplace, called up everything. They didn't get me on Medicaid or Medicare, whichever one, whatever. Which I'm 55, so whatever. So then they first denied food stamps, all the way denied food stamps because I couldn't come up with my PayPal account balance. Still having issues with PayPal. That's a whole different. I'm not going to go down that, so you don't have to put anything in the comment. Gives me Medicaid. Still getting a bill from Ambetter. Medicaid then puts me on Ambetter, the marketplace, whatever. Right now, I've got a number, no card. I called to make an appointment. It's still not showing up. So the moral of all that is that our healthcare system really is screwed up. Okay. And I fall between all these cracks because I said my projected income is going to be this, but it's just a cluster. But also, I'm aware that if I was more technology literate, if I had more help and I didn't want to ask anybody for help, then I would have been able to get through all that sooner. So that's not lost on me. But still, our healthcare system is a mess, you know. And I will say this, in prison, the Bureau of Prisons, depending on what yard you're at, if you are proactive with your health care, if you don't go in there talking to them like an idiot, because they are they come in, doctors and psychologists especially, they come in with a certain aspect they believe it's going to be a certain way. They're going to help people, not the doctors. Most of the doctors in the BOP that work in the institutions, by the way, have been in trouble. They got busted for tax scams, Medicare fraud and all that. And as part of their deal, they become doctors and get their record cleaned up or whatever, and make like 150 grand or something like that. It was explained to me. All those doctors have been, not everyone, but they've been tagged. They've been busted or got in trouble. Dr. Tharp at Leavenworth explained she was busting prescription fraud and was a junkie. I shouldn't say junkie. But she worked there. But anyway, like Butner, where I was at, I hear all these arguments about you can't get health care. It's true that there's problems navigating the system and they're overloaded. But there is really, really good health care as well. It is. And navigating the healthcare system out here was kind of like in there, you've got to be on top of it. You know, the guys that aren't getting a lot of the care in there, boy, I know some cases that are nightmares, so I should watch what I say. But a lot of them are excessive paperwork filers. They file on the doctors all the time on BS stuff, not legitimate stuff. So it just it screws the system up. Prisoners, inmates, we screw everything up in prison a lot of times. A lot of times. So that's a little bit off. Spirit annoyance. Damn, I keep pushing something and this other stuff pops up. Why? And I just lost everything. Holy channel. Okay. I am is a powerful mantra. Oh, I am is a powerful mantra, and you should never label yourself as an addict or sick in general. I think there's something to that. And by the way, let me say this. What's going on here? What am I doing here? So if I do that. Okay, let me see if I got that. I did. Oh, Spirit, I think I deleted your message, Spirit in New Orleans, and I didn't mean to. Okay, I'm having issues now because it keeps popping up, channel activity. See, this is what I'm talking about. I just lost the whole page. Shit. I just lost everything, you guys. Okay, you're back. Damn. Rob, did spirituality help with your recovery? I'm currently taking Suboxone as MAT treatment, and I feel it disconnects me from God. I started tapering today. Darren, wow, what a comment. Okay, so full disclosure on spirituality. I was born and raised a Catholic. No comments. I was born and raised a Catholic. Always believed in God. Started not believing in God before or about my life sentence, about that time, okay? So went all the way through prison, not praying, never said prayers in prison. Never said prayers ever. Got out. My mom always tried to get me to go to church. Now she's really now on watching mass and stuff like that. But anyway, I got out of rehab the last time, so I went twice and went to church. And it was, before I say that, let me say this. I always felt, even when I was a non-believer in prison or agnostic, very agnostic, okay? If there is, fine. If there's not, fine, okay? That's how I felt. But I always felt that I needed to go back to my hometown of San Pedro, go back to my home church and try to find me. I still think I still need to do that for other reasons. But I was not able to. So there's a place in Fort Smith, a big church, really cool church up there. And I went with my ex-wife. And that day I had, it was almost, I say almost, as good as doing my first shot of H. And I say that because I've said so many times it was like kissing the feet of God. Maybe that's a bad term to use, but it's a true statement to me. It was such a great feeling being there. The priest was good. Will I start going back to church? I don't know. Am I somebody? I started praying. I say a prayer in the morning and at night. I will be honest, it's not been every day since I've been out. but I do. And I just made a mental note that that's got to be part of my daily program as well. So did you feel disconnected from God? I think what Suboxone does, so in the beginning, when you're taking it normally as prescribed, right? Which you're not supposed to feel the euphoria feeling. I don't really, so when I'm doing strips like that, there is a way to feel it. If I taper doses, you do less, you can feel it and all that other stuff, right? So, but it zombies you out. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it does. But that was me, and it could be psychologically as well. You know, got a lot of psych issues too, for sure. I mean, I think we all do. So I hope you can start tapering. And by the way, do it slowly. And you can go from like a strip to a half a strip too, by the way. You can do that, okay? Then go to quarters. Go all the way down to a 16th or a 32nd even of a strip. I mean, that's in prison. Guys get high off 30 seconds. Cut a strip 32 times. The normal is to cut a strip in 8 pieces. That was the normal. Then it became 16ths. Cut that 8 in half. So, and I'm telling you, I got high a bunch of times off it that way. But I'm not talking about getting high here. I'm talking about tapering off. It's miserable. I just stopped when I got out, and I was on the shots. Came home from prison. I had other issues that were causing me to be down for the first month. But the 2 weeks coming off of Suboxone, I went hard, you know, and did it. And I was able to because I wasn't working, and because I didn't have a vehicle that ran either. But I just did it. You know what I mean? And it was about 2 weeks. It's about 2 weeks. Okay, let me see what you're saying here. Johnny Leonard, Rob, my man, I'm glad I finally caught a live. You look good, bro. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't intentionally delete nothing. Don't start your BS. Me and my, what's up, Robert? Hope you're doing well. Me and my strumpet. I'm doing good. And so if you guys just joined, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 o'clock, I will have a theme or a point when I start the next one. Like I'll talk about a certain subject. Oh, I got a good one I want to bring up. This is really important too. Let me do this. Feel this. Try audio frequencies to shift your consciousness. You're getting heavy, bro. Johnny Leonard, Rob, I promise you, if you keep seeking, you will find what you're looking for. God is right there for you. That's not a drug there's not a drug on the planet that gives you the high God does when you're close to him. Johnny Leonard, thank you. I'll go back to that. Suboxone got me sick. Robert Wasser was an emotional wreck when he showed up at Lee Cole's government. I wasn't. Well, man, I was so much of a wreck. I'm not going to get back on that right now. Well, that's drug related. As far as spirituality, so let me say this. This might not sit. So when it comes to God, I did an audio about this when I was in Cimarron. When it comes to God, spirituality, I believe that God is energy. That energy could be in form of a human type presence. The Big Bang Theory, energy, I can relate all of that with God. I'm not saying that I just believe there was a bang, or I'm not saying that I don't. When you break it down and you look at spirit, which is a ghost, which is energy, it's all, to me, it's energy. A ghost, one we see, like a ghost, like Connor or whatever, like a ghost, like I have ghosts in this house, probably for sure. Next door, the lady killed herself, hung herself in my house. I got that little house next door. She did it in the back, but that's energy. So for people that are non-believers too, I think we can both find and seek the same thing. And I know that doesn't sit well with people that are just, Christians or whatever. To me, it comes down to the same thing. And then Jesus is the teacher of, well, anyway, I'm not going to go down. Anyway, to connect to God, is very important. Yeah, I do believe that. And that's something I have to work on too, inside. People sometimes do seek religion or find God for the wrong reasons. At the time, it was connected to my marriage or what I was trying to salvage or whatever at the time. So when that didn't work, for sure, okay, I say for sure a lot, then the church became a bummer to me too, because it reminds me of, that. But, and I want us to say this real quick, so I don't, just so you guys understand, and I'm not going to put more about what I'm going to say. I'm not going to put more than this, so don't ask. Maybe someday I'll address it more. When it comes to the ex-wife Marta, we're in a good place. Well, we have made amends. She has forgiven me. We have spent time together, and we're at a place where we realize that we're on different paths in life, but it's all good. And I'm talking to myself right now, not you guys. Maybe it's okay to go back to the church, and I won't feel that way because of there's some peace in all that. There's also some, there's also, but people have asked, DC Blacks, what's up, Eon? Real quick, by the way, I just want to say I did not see you in that chat the other night. Boy, I was running through the messages real quick because I was on that top. I would have came back at you for sure, because you are a black guy and got some opinions. And by the way, maybe I'll call you later on, okay? Just to touch base otherwise. Okay, bro? Just want to say that. And again, you guys, I don't want to get off the topic of talking about addiction recovery drugs right now. I don't want to talk about other stuff, okay? So okay, James Miller. I broke my back about 13 years ago. I've been prescribed Oxy, still taking it. I think now it doesn't help with the pain. I have to keep taking it to keep from being sick. I think it does. James, listen to me. Listen to me. In Europe, going back to Marta again. In Europe, they don't prescribe any opiates for pain. Sounds brutal, right? Take 800 milligrams ibuprofen, and I promise you, it's better for pain than opiates. I know people will push back on that, and I'm sure there are cases that might not be true, and then people actually need. Well, I don't believe you need it all long term. I don't. That's just my thing. That's what the FDA did to all of us. But I don't believe you need to just keep on it. And it doesn't. It's just like heroin. You've got to keep doing it. Or you got to keep taking more. And that stuff's bad. And I know a counselor in rehab. He's not there no more. Okay, he was taking Vicodin. Big guy, very overweight. He had back and knee problems, overweight. And he was a counselor. And he says he was only taking I don't believe that. He had issues, but he justified it because the doctor prescribed it to him. The doctors will prescribe you anything, And speaking of our healthcare system, I think you can look at Eastern medicine for what we do here in this country as far as just getting a pill for everything. It's bogus. That's my opinion. Okay. Oh no, don't do this to me again. When someone dies in a highly emotional state of mind, their energy tends to linger. Okay, I agree. How's it going? Mickey Griggs, I'm doing good, bud. Darren, does PTSD impact your recovery? From my 2-year bid, I have CPTSD continuing. Boy, you got it. Okay. I never realized how much it affects me, but I get triggered by going to the store. Okay, Jan, I saw you. It's all good. Yeah, and I do want to talk to you. And I want to talk to you about the current event issue too. Ken Knopf from Connecticut. Hey, Ken, what's up, bud? Continuing post-traumatic syndrome. I 100% believe that. Shout out to Gary Settle, who's incarcerated right now, poor bastard, who brought this up. I didn't even know that existed. 1,000% incarceration has changed me in ways I never even realized. You talk about going to the store, man. So I've got, after I leave today, which I'm an hour, and I said I'm only going to do an hour, but let's keep going for a little bit. I haven't had one in a minute. Almost had one, not this weekend, last weekend when I went out to dinner with somebody, and I first bite of food dropped. I bit a egg roll, the sweet and sour sauce on this shirt, which I can't believe anyway, it went boom, 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 boom. My pants got hit and my white shoe. One bite, my first bite of food. That set me almost off. I had to go to the bathroom and breathe. But I've had major issues in public just out of the blue. I will be sitting in a restaurant sometimes, or sitting someplace, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm tunnel visioned. That happens. And I guess some of my attitude and the F this, even responding to people, I guess that's still for sure. So back to your question, though, because I get off, you asked how much it affects, does it impact your recovery? Oh, well, for sure, I think it can. For sure, because one of the things is you feel uncomfortable, you want to feel comfort. What do we normally go to? What do people with addiction issues normally go to? Comfort zones. And you know what's crazy? That comfort might be using something like methamphetamine. So if I'm whatever, like I said, I'm an equal opportunist when it comes to using. But let's say, and there has been many times when it was just meth, and then I do it and I feel worse. I hate that speedy feeling. You know, it's fine if I'm tearing apart a yard or something like that. But even then, I need alcohol and stuff to tear it out. And I'm getting off the subject again. Excuse me. The nefesh is not at peak. Okay. How's it going? Mikey Griggs, good. Okay, back there. I'm sorry. Hello, Rob. We'll be emailing you. Lonnie. Okay, Lonnie, yeah. And I just said it earlier, by the way, if somebody emailed me, a friend of mine, and I pushed send and it doesn't seem like it was sent back to them. And I don't know why, because on Saturday night, Sunday, I got into my Google account and started pushing things, and maybe I think I pushed something wrong. Okay. But yeah, Lonnie, and by the way, just real quick, so I'm on addiction recovery. I'm not going to get on the other subjects just in case, because I know you got a lot of very important and very good questions. Johnny Leonard, a drug is a drug, but it's okay to do drugs if your doctor prescribes them. Then it's not a drug. They prescribe amphetamines, and it's all good because it's from the doctor. Yeah. And I've thought about before about getting on Adderall because I can. I'm sure of it because I bounce. And this is off the subject, but I had a drug counselor, my first one, an outpatient, who knew that probation and parole was coming for me, so to speak, and told me to go ahead and get on Xanax, Adderall, pain pills, so I don't pop dirty and go back to prison. She was looking out, but, you know. Okay, where are we at? So are we getting a live tonight? It's possible tonight. I probably should. I was going to do just one random tonight just because, okay? But what I'm going to do. Did you hear me? Did you say what I think? Did you hear what I just almost said? What I'm going to do is I'm doing lives at 12 o'clock this time, Central, 12 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, addiction and recovery only, and stuff to do with drugs, okay? So I will be starting this out with a topic, and then we can go wherever after. I'll make my little points or whatever, okay? And then just go on. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays for now, until I get more of a life, That's coming very, very soon. Saturdays too. Saturday's actually a really good night to have a live. A lot of people pop up on those, and even if it's not a lot of people are engaged is what matters. It's not the numbers. Well, the numbers would be great. I don't get those 300 like I used to when I was really ranting on the mob genre, but whatever. There's 20 in here right now, but I don't care. People have been watching a lot of the lives afterwards too, by the way. A lot. What's up, Mike? Thanks, bro. Lonnie, can you weigh in on AV members, Ron? Okay, so that's what I was just saying. Not right now, okay? Ask me again, and I just don't want to, because I'll get off topic and I'll just go in outer space, okay? That's all. Donnie Ragu. Hey, Donnie Ragu. I don't use drugs, but if I did, I'd probably enjoy opioids. Yeah, Donnie, it is. But don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. Seriously. And man, I just messed my channel up again. Damn it. Here we go. Okay. Joe Delamura. What's up? Hey, Rob. What's up, bud? How you doing? Yeah. So, like I said, I came on today just to say what I have said. And I'm not going to talk this talk. I'm walking this walk. Walk it with me. Cheer me on, clown me, bring people in, whatever the deal is. They're not talking about you're not relevant. Okay, this is what I wanted to say. And I mentioned this before. Maybe not on YouTube where I was talking to somebody about it. This is something really important. We all know what triggers are, right? I think even people that don't use know what triggers are. Stay away from triggers, old people, places, and things. Blah, blah, blah. Trigger can be a song. By the way, songs. I do listen to a lot of songs that have drug stuff. Jelly Roll, in particular. I was in rehab. I discovered Jelly Roll. When I got out and was using, especially when I was in the woe is me moments, God, it was just like I'd sit there and use, and I'm going to stop, but I'm going to listen to Jelly Roll. And I just in the last couple of weeks started listening to him again. And it hasn't been any kind of, I do draw strength as far as creativity. You guys haven't seen any creativity, really. Creativity, thinking ideas from music, and a lot of it, glycerine, a lot of different music that's drug involved. I still draw inspiration from it, but now I look at it. So I've told somebody this before, and this is the truth. I used to have ideas about being a counselor. So just in case you guys don't know, when I was in my early 20s, like 20, I was the coke man. I used to, like I said, I grew up in a beach community type of environment, whatever, coast, and used to have a lot of fake friends and a lot of friends, and put the pile out all the time. We'd sit around and snort coke, and countless times would sit there and talk about how I'm going to be a drug counselor. And I can recall people, I remember drawing lines, snorting lines, and everything. But Rob, you make a great counselor. And we'd start talking about when I was going to be a counselor. How sick. Couple times in my 20s, there was a time when I got out of Arkansas, the first time, the Arkansas Department of Corrections. It was again related to a marriage. I married my junior high school sweetheart. We shouldn't have got married, but anyway, that we were kids. I got no regrets. We got through. Yeah, no regrets. But I was in prison the whole time. When you're in prison, you make plans for things, right? A lot of times those ideas don't pan out. Sometimes they do. But you make plans, you dream. I was going to do garden. I was going to start a landscaping business. Before I went to prison, I had some drug money, and I already started investing in tools. I was going to do agriculture, horticulture classes, lands. I had a plan. I bought a place, had a big barn in the back, bigger than this one, 10 acres. It was set up for that reason. Well, the ex, when I went to prison, had an affair with a kid, by the way. But anyway, so I didn't know any of this until the day I was coming home, the day I came home. And on that agenda was getting into the drug, starting to go to NAA, and then starting to do the drug counseling, start trying to pursue that drain. So this goes way back, man. And yeah, why did I get into that conversation? I see I jumped. That's all. Anyway, Spirit of New Orleans. Oh God, how come I keep? Oh, dude, I just deleted you again. I didn't mean to. How am I deleting you? So when I push, so I'm scrolling, right? And I push, and this big thing comes up, and then I try to push it to go out. So I'm not doing you on purpose. So it was the OMG comment. Messages deleted by Convict. Oh, view deleted message. Hold on. How do I do? No, I don't want to put you in timeout. How do I? Okay, forget it now. Forget it now. Damn it. Cancel. They're going to really hate you now. Spirit of New Orleans. Okay. OMG. Your new Joey video saying he was a chomo is go. I forgot. It just went up, didn't it? It just went up, didn't it? I forgot. I set that. I set that specifically for when this was over. It was going to be over in 1 hour. So I didn't want to get into that. 100% true. That whole thing. Robert Wasso inspires to become some sort of Robert Wasso inspires to become some sort of counselor to drug addicts. Yes, I don't aspire. I'm going to be. I'm going to be. Well, let's talk. Let's walk the walk. We'll see what happens. Again, and like just to be clear, this is part of my step one. It may be just on here. No, it'll probably be. Yeah, we'll see. But I'm on that journey. I'm on that direction now. The story about your daughter really impacted me. I fight addiction every day. I teared up even thinking about the cost. I hope she forgives you. Darren, are you specifically referring to In My Daughter's Eyes? Just say yes or no. If you do, I can. That's drug related. That's something I can talk about. And I'll go ahead and address the issue with the kids too. That is all part of this as well. I just want to know that before, is that's what you're talking about? I'm waiting for that, and I won't be on too much longer here, guys. But damn, I forgot that I wasn't even thinking about that video. By the way, on that video, real quick, my handler is Primo. Yeah, all he did was, again, all he did was say, Rob, in mob chat rooms are bringing up the Convict or Chomo Inc. thing again. You might want to address it. I'm like, man, I've addressed that so many times, but now I've got a video and I can always go back, look at the one with Joey Test. That's why I did the thumbnail like that. Okay, so anyway. Is it the story? So I'm waiting for, did I delay everybody now? I'm not really sure. Did I just screw up chats? Did I put a delay? Might be a delay on it. Okay. I'm going to assume, rest in peace, Pope Francis. Right on, Mike. Yeah, that's right. Pope died today. Well, I'm glad it wasn't I'm glad they got rid of Benedict, or Benedict retired, or whatever, the one before that. Yeah, he was going for a while, right? You're right. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Pope Francis. So there is a delay, I think I got on there. But anyway, so I'm going to do this, Darren. There's a story I did. I wrote it. I forgot where it was even posted. It wasn't on any major. I think it was just on my blogs. It's called In My Daughter's Eyes. And I'll go ahead and tell the story. Might as well. So here's what happens. I get out of prison in Chino in 96. I remarried a girl that we got married because I was going to jail and I wanted conjugal visits. Okay, hold on. What's your grand plan? I really think you could make big bucks writing a book. You may enjoy the process. Donnie, so I've written 3 white trash novels. I think 2 of the manuscripts are complete, need to go back and be revised. I was going to go through the book project. This is getting off subject, isn't it? But oh well, I'm at the end of this. Well, closing out. I was going to go back. So I was going through Guerrilla Convict, Seth Ferranti. I promised him the book. Seth started doing his filming stuff. He had an editor. The editor looked at it, didn't like it. Did not like it. Seth liked what I did, but didn't like the opening. Didn't like a lot of it. That was the first time. And but Seth wasn't a series, so that wasn't a big money maker for him. And I did not go through the other channels that I had. Simon and Schuster. That was a whole. I had an opportunity for a book thing when I first got out. I have been trying to write here lately. Again, that's just another thing I got to remind myself. I am going to write. I am going to start doing it. But I have tried to write just articles for freelancing, and it's not worked out. But you know what? That's that I can't do attitude that I've had, or that waiting attitude, and I've got to deal with that too. I've got, you know what I have to do? I have to really structure and budget my time better. So my structure and budget's just been making the shows, like I've said, and I do watch a lot of stuff for content, a lot of psychologists, a lot of different stuff. But I mentioned the other night that I've cut friends out, and I don't mean to cut them off because of they're using drugs or okay, that's not. There was a reason, but now that I'm not wasting time just going and hanging out or just for a social aspect, just going to say hi for a little while or whatever, that's what I need to really start doing. I don't know what to do as far as the book, because now there's so much involved. It was going to be when I got out, that I got out of prison and everything, you know, it was supposed to be a happy ending and a great story. It turned into a nightmare kind of, but through those mistakes, things will get better. And like I have said, like I said earlier, I've been forgiven by the person that matters. Not matters most, because there's still to deal with the kids, and I'll get into that. Yes, I think Jason. Yes, you can become an alcoholic from drinking beers. 100%. Darren, I'm going to go back to the story because this goes in with the drug thing. 1996, I get out of Chino. Before I got out, I had 2 parole plans. 2. What's up, Mike? I will call you. I will call you after, okay? Because I know you're going to come or whatever, and I wanted to talk to you because we talked about construction and the house. I want to talk to you. I talked to Primo yesterday, the day before. I want to talk to you. So, same old, it's all good. Same old. No, you got to go back. This is a new beginning for me. I will call you. I am going to call you, Mike. Okay, so let me get back. So here's what happens. Right before I go to jail, I marry Barbara. Barbara and I were a match made in hell. It was a drug run. She liked girls as much as I did. Okay, so it was wonderful, you know, and drugs. It was wonderful at that time. So we get married because she's going to do a PV, a violation, but California has conjugal visits. I was going to put her in the conjugal visit hot seat. Okay, that's how it's supposed to work out. Anyway, she gets out of prison. Her family up in northern Arkansas don't have much money. It was her aunt and uncle, but they got a trailer for us, put it on a land. They had a lot of land, and that's where my parole address to. At the same time, my dad gave me an ultimatum. I can stay in California, get rid of Barbara. They hated Barbara. Get out of Chino, stay in California. They'll give me the house that I grew up in. Give me the house that I grew up in, because it was they moved back to Arkansas. I'm gonna have it. And get a job back in the labor's union. I can no longer be a business agent or any of the in the hall. I would be a laborer, okay? Because I blew that opportunity. I was supposed to be a labor's union leader like my dad. I was going to be handed his job and he was going to retire out as the business manager when I was 25. My future was planned when I was 13 years old, by about 13 years old. Okay. So my dad said, stay in California, or I can come to Arkansas, and they would give me the house that I ended up getting and selling after I got out of prison and then gambled all the way. This here in 2022. Or, as he put it, you can go with that, WHORE, and I'll buy you a pair of work boots and some jeans. Well, right before, about 2 months before I got out, Barbara goes and starts doing her crack. She was a crack lady of the night. does a relapse, just spits out a kid who, by the way, I thought was mine, and it was not. My mom, when the baby was born, thought the baby was mine. Said he looked just like me. I came home, he had kinky hair. Baby didn't look like me. He looked like G Money. His dad's name was G Money. Anyway, so came home to that. But here's what happened. So I immediately switched my parole plan when I found out she's on a crack run. I switched it to California. I'm going to go take the house like my dad said. I got 2 parole plans. They are both approved. Okay? They're both approved. When I left Chino, the day I got out of Chino, my nephew picks me up with a 6-pack of beer. No, we went straight to the liquor store. I can go either. I got to be in California or in Arkansas in 72 hours to report to a PO. It was the most screwed up thing ever. I go to my family house, my parents' house. My sister was living in it at the time. I walk into the front door. Boy, this is a long-winded story, but it's fun. It goes in my daughter's eyes. I walk into the front door. I walk in, the door's open. I walk into the back bedroom, which was my mom and dad's. My sister had it like a party room, whatever. And on this table is a mirror with lines of meth like this long. Just these big gaggers, right? She's nowhere to be seen. I don't see her anywhere. So her son drops me off. I've already been drinking. I go down and do this gagger. Boom! I remember, also my ex-wife. My ex-wife is still in the picture at that time. My ex-wife and I divorced really great. After everything, we had better sex on our divorce day than our honeymoon. Okay, actually, we made a honeymoon baby, so I shouldn't say that. But we were cool. We were pals, right? So I did meth, and now what do I want? Piece of ass. So my nephew leaves. I call up my friend Sam. He wants to go kick it. Doesn't realize I got one thing on my mind. I go to the ex's house where my 3 daughters are. And she goes, by the way, you got to babysit. I'm going to work right now. I'm like, but hey, can we just hit the bathroom real quick? No, she was in a mood. Wasn't going to happen. So I'm spun and I get my kids. And by the way, this is way off. You know what I made my kids for lunch? A spread, ramen noodles. I made them a total spread. Those kids hated me. They were so disgusted. Anyway, this is totally getting off. So let me skip. So then I stay with the kids. The ex comes home and she's not coming off any. She's not coming off. She's not doing it. So I call Arkansas, and there's Barb back from her crack run. Baby, I miss you. I love you. Okay, I'll be there in a minute. Flying. So literally, this is all about sex. All about sex, man. I know I should just got, a hook or something, but I've never even done that. So my parole plan over a piece of ass goes from California to Arkansas. That's when I go to Arkansas. Land. Barbara picks me up and was effective. Got all the way home, by the way, and I got home and looked at the baby, and he didn't look like me. Literally had 3 strands of kinky hair. She swore it was my baby. I'm like, this isn't my baby, and we took tests to determine, sure enough, it was not my baby. So We don't do well together, me and Barbara. Many fights. The straw that broke the camel's back was one day we were supposed to watch striptease with her aunt and uncle. This is a farm in our, weird shit going on, right? Sidebar, she was banging him. Anyway, I won't even get into that right now. I call up my mom and I say, Mom, I need to borrow $600 for a truck. There was a truck. I had no vehicle. Okay. By the way, my dad got me work boots. They got me work boots and a couple pair of outfits. And I worked in a sawmill daily for 2 months. Worked at a sawmill for minimum wage. Okay. So we get in this fight. We're supposed to watch striptease. Barbara's supposed to go get ice for margaritas that night. The ice is 20 miles away. This is way up in northern Arkansas. She didn't come back for 3 days. Okay. During that time, I call my mom. Mom, I need to borrow money to get a truck. I'm leaving Barbara, and I will transfer down to Arkansas. Went to the PO up there. He said, no problem. You can move to Sebastian County. No problem. We'll get that done. As my mom is sending me the money, I talk to a family member. The family member happens to say the prices of meth are $500 an ounce. The money got rerouted right to California in a package. An ounce of meth came to me, and that ounce of meth turned into $2,000 for 1 ounce. Okay. I then take that money, send it back, and get, I think it was 2 ounces. And then I bought a truck, that 1977 big red 3-speed truck. I get 2 ounces. I have $4,000 paid for a plane ticket. This gets into the story, you guys. And what happens is when I'm leaving, the aunt says, we can't keep this baby here. And she meant we can't keep this baby here because he was black. She did have a different child who's mixed race. I shouldn't say that, but the dad was a pimp and a drug dealer. They didn't like the dad, G Money. We ended up becoming friends. That's a total different story, not for today. So I go to California. I took the baby, by the way. I was going to bring the baby because my ex-wife said, bring the baby with you, Rob. Oh, by the way, I called my ex-wife. She said, stay with me. I'm going to stay with my ex-wife and my kids. Okay. I'm going out there to hook up with dope. So jump on the plane. Oh, come down here. My mom keeps the baby, by the way, while I'm in California for 3.5 weeks. So I go to California. It was January the 19th. My daughter's birthday was the next day. Okay. Land. Things work out with me and the ex. You know what I mean? And that night, the next day, we go to the bowling alley. Great party. She had a little party with all her friends. It was really, 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 really good. I don't know if it was that night or the following day. I'm sitting on a chair. By the way, I need to add this. I go to California and I found out the prices of meth were $3,000. My family member was burning me, okay? And how I found out was I was in a room in my ex-wife's bedroom and I'm weighing stuff up and I'm putting it in packages because I'm mailing it myself back here. In walks my ex-wife's girlfriend, one of the girls that I grew up with, that I've known since I was a child, who looks at what I'm doing. And I didn't know about conspiracies or none of that. And she's like, what are you doing? And I said, oh, here, I'm going to mail this one. I'm packaging and I'm doing this. And she's like, oh, because this stuff looks pretty good. Well, how much do you pay for it? And I said, $2,400. I bought 4 ounces. $2,400. She's like, really? That's a real good price. So I'm telling her, I'm sending an ounce here. Yeah, stupid. I'm sending an ounce here. I'm saying this. I'm making this much. And by the way, you want to get naked? But anyway, so I'm doing all that. And she says, where's the rest? Because I had 4 ounces. I said, what do you mean the rest? She said, the rest of the pound. And I said, what pound? She said, you paid $2,400 for 4 ounces? And I said, yeah. She got beat. By the way, do you know who I'm married to? Do you know the person, the connect I have, or however it went down? Long story short, here comes a pound for 3,000. I get on the cuff. Well, so I've got this. I have all this and a couple pounds of weed in my ex-wife's house that I'm packaging the mail. Take a break for whatever reason. I'm in the room. I've got, well, Tyler, the little one was 2, the oldest one was 9, just turned 9. So 9, 6, and 3. Okay. My daughter comes up to me, my oldest daughter. Her name's Alex, and sits on my lap, and she says, "Daddy, I want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you." And first of all, that's mother's words. She was a spitting image of my ex too. Was whatever. And she sits down on my lap. She says she wants to have a heart-to-heart, and here comes tears in her eyes. And she says, "Daddy," puts her arm around my neck and says, "Can you promise me that you'll never go back to jail again?" I've got dope stashed in this house. And all I remember saying was, "Alex, I can't promise that to you." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Because once you go to jail," I didn't say because the house is full of dope. I said, once you go to jail, I can be driving down the street, and because I've been in jail before, the cops can pull me over and I can go back to prison. And she said, "Well, just don't drive anymore. Just don't drive anymore." And boy, that one hurt, man. Then, to make matters worse, skip to August. So that was January, August. I've got my kids for the summer, half a summer. Me and the ex, we were tight, like I said at the time. And it's August the 11th, and I am building a gazebo over a hot tub and a sauna with a deck on top. Meth project. It would have been good. I didn't finish it. So it's 10 o'clock at night. I remember it's like it's yesterday. 10 o'clock at night. And here comes Alex. Said, "Daddy, I want to talk to you." And I said, "Okay, tell Barb to give you a glass of Jack." I was a Jack Daniels drinker. So here she comes out with a big old glass, no ice, and Jack. In the glass of Jack, I said, "What's up?" She said, "Me, Ricky, and Tyler, me and my sisters," and she said the kids' names. We want to stay here and live with you. We don't want to go back with Mommy." Now, I was leaving on the 21st of January. This is the 11th. I was leaving on August. I was leaving on the 21st of August to go to California. I had just bought a 30-something foot trailer. I was going to buy a dually to pull it. We were going to go to the Carlsbad Caverns. We were going to go to Grand Canyon, and then to California, where I had a deal worked out for 18 pounds of dope. And I was going to take that, mail it back to myself, fly back there, catch the package myself, because this is the last one I wanted to do, because the heat was fully on at that time. I was going to catch it myself, and that was going to be the last drug deal ever. Everybody has that story. So she says, "Daddy, I want to stay with you." And I look at her and I say, "Alex," I said, what am I supposed to say to your mom?" She goes, "I don't know. You're the daddy. You can tell her. You can tell her you just want to keep us." And I told her, I said, "Alex, I still love your mom, right? And I'm going to tell you the truth. I still had hopes that me and my ex would get back together at that point. I did. I fully did, because I wanted my family back. You know what I'm saying?" And that conversation, when she said that, I just said, "Look, I'll call your mom tomorrow and talk about it." She says, "Do you promise?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "You promise we can stay here?" And I said, "No." I said, "I still love your mom." I said, "I don't want to hurt her feelings." That's what I told her. And she had a boyfriend, by the way, who they drove back the kids with. Some lame, but whatever. And she said, "You promise?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "You're going to call Mommy tomorrow." Now, these kids wanted to live with me because I was a Disneyland dad. I had dope money, even though at that particular time I just gambled. I had $100,000 in the yard, but I still had 109 exactly. But I still had otherwise I was cash strapped. Besides that, the nest egg. The next day, here they came. Here came the feds. And it was a horrible, horrible, horrible bust. Grandma went down. My mom went down. My mom picked the package up. It was a total fluke. That's a long story. I'm gonna do videos about my whole case, and I'm gonna do transcripts and all that too. It's actually sitting right there. But the transcripts and stuff are out. But that kid, my oldest daughter, the next day when the cops were taken. So first of all, what happened was, so mom brings a package, knows that it's probably not right, coming to bitch at me, but she picked up my mail. Okay, my mom commonly picked up my mail. I did not ask her to bring a package to me. She did not. I didn't expect it. It was a total. My ex-wife ordered it. There's a long story. My ex-wife ordered it and was doing stuff behind my back. She had actually ordered a package that arrived on August the 8th that I had no knowledge of, and she was trading a pound of meth for an ounce of crack. To G Money, to the baby, the little kid's father, who the baby's name was Robert Joseph Ross. So he's since died, got in a car wreck. And I was talking to him, and so was my ex-wife Marta, who used to communicate with him, and he got wrecked, terrible. But what was I saying? So mom comes out there. I'm pillow fighting with the kids. It's 11 o'clock. The postal service, all of them followed my mom out to where I was. They didn't know where I lived. I lived way. It's set far back. Nobody really knew where I lived. They knew of the area. So when I get busted, there is a cop by the name of Bill Hollenbeck, who was the sheriff of this county, who actually wrote a letter for me to get out. He knew my ex-wife. He was my daughter and his daughter were best friends in first grade when I was in prison the first time. So what happens is the middle daughter, Ricky, is screaming, "Don't take my daddy away. Don't take my daddy away. Don't take my daddy away." And Alex says, "Don't worry, Ricky, that's daddy's friend," meaning Hollenbeck. Take it easy, you guys. I mean, it's not friend onto that type of level. Like I said, my daughter knew him. But anyway, and he was involved he wasn't involved in my arrest. He was involved in a friend's arrest. But anyway, so Alex tells Ricky that I heard that. They then, when they go to put me in the back seat, the cop slammed my head against the car, the top of the hood when he pushed me up. Yates, Captain Yates. I'll never forget that piece of junk. So they then drive me 30 minutes and come back to my house because the safe was locked. They could not find this package. My ex-wife grabbed it and put it somewhere. When they brought me back, they wanted me to open the safe. There's nothing in my safe. I don't know why at the time but I fully went and opened the safe, whatever. I was trying to see if they found the package, and I was trying to whisper something to Barbara. When I went back, my oldest daughter, oh my God, the venom in that kid's eyes, the hatred that she had for me, it's undescribable. If you're asking now, I'm going to clean this up, round this up. I'm talking too much. This is still on the topic of drugs, I guess, addiction recovery. Yeah, I'm recovering from all this, from what I put them all through. Sadly, I got out of prison. My oldest daughter did live on the farm where my family lives, and we had a huge falling out about 4 months into it, and we have not talked to this day. So that's something, and they actually live back here again. So they bounce. Once you move back to Arkansas and you're from California, you bounce the rest of your life. It's a curse, you know. But that's an issue that's definitely in the distant future. Not right now. I need to get my life in order, and my life's getting in order today, starting it today. And so my communications with my children are not good. The other one, the baby, I have never seen. The middle one was here for my dad's funeral, or my dad died. She was here. Yeah, she was here the day he died. That was cool. And then I started, when my dad died, that's when I went off. I'm not going to say because of it, that my alcoholism transpired. Progressed. The drugs, a couple nights before my dad died. As a matter of fact, I was smoking meth when I was up there watching him a couple times with a person that was in the house as well. And then I started taking a diet mentally. It was just a bad deal. So what I said to my girls is, when I get my life together, I felt that every time I was talking to them, I was only complaining and whining about my life. So I didn't want to keep doing that. But then tomorrow never came. And there's a lot of resentment towards me from them about it. Yeah, so I got off on this, but it's okay. And it'll work. It'll all work itself out. It's going to, because I'm going to work me out, and it'll all fall into place. Rob, I bet you don't know how to ride a Harley, do you? Debating if we're bringing two. Dude, I have never ridden a Harley in my life. I can kick your ass on a rice rocket still. I can blow doors up. Mike, I can blow you away on a rice rocket any day of the week, bro. Okay? And I haven't ridden since 97. And I went down hard in 97 too. Good luck. God bless you. All that must. Okay. Thanks, James. Is it James? Yeah. Addiction never gets easy. We just get stronger. I've been sober since November of 17. Thank God bless and congratulations. I can't remember exactly which day. You brought up a good. I'm going to end on this. Oh, and then I got to talk about. I didn't hit the subject on the triggers, and then I'll end it. Sobriety dates. I stopped the sobriety dates. I stopped it. I'm going to go back. I think I'm going to do today, because it entails food as well. Because I've been a dry drunk. I still, I guess you can say, but man, that's where I need to write the program, right? But I have had counselors told me don't do sobriety dates. And I was really big on sobriety dates because I loved getting the chips in AA and NA. Did I ever get my 60-day chip? I think I got it one time. Always at 59, I always crashed right then. Every time. There's like 3 times that happened. So, I know the last time I did meth, it was the Washington County. So, the 3rd of February. But I stopped on the sobriety dates. I stopped that in prison when I got my Suboxone shot, because I didn't feel clean with the Suboxone shot. Okay, now I'm going to finish this off, you guys, this way. Okay, here's the deal. So triggers. We all talk about triggers and triggers and triggers, right? What about glimmers? The glimmers. The glimmers are the positive things. The things that remind you that in sobriety, it's good, right? I had a bunch of glimmers not long ago. I could still say it, but some that really stand out. Walking in the park with somebody, just being at a restaurant and realizing I was free and there and in a good spot with the good person. It was the glimmers is what we don't focus enough on. The glimmers, And full disclosure, I learned that from a rat boxer, Mexican mafia dropout. I was watching the underbelly or whatever it's called, and he brought that up, and I was like, that is phenomenal. I never heard that. Maybe that's a rehab thing. I swear I've never even heard that term. It's the glimmers that we have to focus more on and tell people more about and to look for, not the triggers, the glimmers. Triggers are important. Glimmers are equally, if not more important. On that note, I'm going to end this, you guys, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time. This is real. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Saturday for now until I have more of a life. And videos. I'm going to do the test of the video I did, which was a bad day to actually do it, Primo. But I did it. And I can always point back when the jackasses start talking about chomoing and all that other dumb shit. Take care. Thank you for being here. Mike, I'm calling you now, buddy. How do I end this live? Where do I do this? How do I end? Ha! I don't know how to end. No shit. This is a different. I guess you guys are going to keep me for a while. I guess I'm going to be here for a while. Let's see. Oh, end stream. Bye.